Welcome. Didn't really sung right, did it, Dr. O'Hara? You know, for such an auspicious occasion, what you really need is like a smooth voiceover guy, like at the Oscar Awards. It should probably go something like this. Welcome to the University of Kentucky's College of Engineering Paducah campus's 20th anniversary celebration, sponsored in part by Boeing for our mechanical engineers, Dow Chemical for our chemical engineers, and Diet Mountain Dew, the kick without the calories, favorite drink of President Dr. Anton Rees. Welcome. Yes, that's more like it. Yes. Well, good evening, and this is indeed an incredible occasion as we celebrate 20 years. It's incredible. 2 decades have passed in an incredible amount of time. It is incredible to also imagine that the first mechanical engineering students graduated in May 2000, and the first chemical engineering students graduated in 2001. And to date, the University of Kentucky's College of Engineering Paducah campus has seen 371 graduates. That's big news. So I present at best that important context as I bring forth the first speaker of the night, Dr. Len O'Hara. It's truly my honor to introduce a man whose vision was instrumental in bringing the engineering program to Western Kentucky, and certainly honored not only to call him a mentor of mine, or a Torah mentor, but also a friend. See, it seems like yesterday, Dr. O'Hara, that John Carrico and Dr. Veazey and I sat and we heard the distinct footsteps of those cowboy boots coming down to the boardroom. And we would open up, and John would say, you know, Dr. O'Hara, the entire campus is on fire. He would turn to Barbara, and Barbara would say, well, all the faculty have left. Dr. O'Hara would look at me and Reese, is enrollment up or down? I say up, move to adjourn. So I'm the same. But with that, though, it's truly heartwarming, Dr. O'Hara, to see you really after 17 years. And we want to call on you intentionally to just talk us through as we reflect back on the vision and impetus behind creating this incredible partnership between our campus and the University of Kentucky College of Engineering. Welcome, Dr. O'Hara.
Thank you, Anton, and I certainly don't deserve all that, but I appreciate it anyway, and I certainly appreciate your humor. Friends, I can't begin to tell you the joy that I am feeling this evening and how exhilarating it is to be on the stage with the folks that are here. I could tell you some wonderful stories about each one, and I could name scores of others, many of you in the audience, who did such marvelous things back in those 1990s and beyond. But I would make a mistake if I start naming names, and I would leave some wonderful people out. But I can tell you that I am really overjoyed to see that we now, I used to pray that we would maybe get 12 students so that they wouldn't terminate the program. And today we have 200 students. It's just exhilarating. I want to congratulate you for what you've achieved. I want to thank those of you who labored these 20 years to make it so successful. The program is what higher education does best, and it's bring economic development to a region, to a state, to a nation, and bring self-esteem and self-worth to the students who are in the program. Dr. Rees said that we had a vision, but I can tell you it was not a vision, it was a dream. It was a dream of this entire community. I spent my first year on the job asking and talking to everyone I could to find out what they wanted the new guy to do. What is it that needs to be done? And when I looked at the data, reams of responses from corporate leaders, from my board, from the UK board, from my faculty, from the town, two things emerged, actually three things emerged, two of which we pulled off. The one we didn't pull off was they said, bring basketball back. And Dr. Vesey managed to do that after I left. So. But the two things that were on everyone's mind were we need a higher education situation here that will keep our young people in this community, that will attract other talented people to this community, and will help to keep those people when they arrive. The corporations told me in spades that what we really need, we need a 4-year engineering school in Paducah. I was stunned that that's what the answer to my question was. We need a 4-year engineering school in Paducah. But I thought, well, gee, that's kind of a no-brainer. I worked for the University of Kentucky. At those days, that's who my boss was. Got a wonderful engineering program, a visionary engineering program, an energetic engineering program. So maybe I just asked them to come on down and do it. And I had been a dean of a technical college back in a few years before. And so I knew that West Kentucky Tech had a technology mindset, had technology students, had technology faculty, had people who would certainly join in and be thrilled with this idea. And of course, I was president of what we now know is one of the top 5 colleges out of 1,200 in the nation. And so I knew of the kind of faculty and staff that I had. And so we could do the first 2 years of education. Kentucky Tech, West Kentucky could send us their students. Murray State could do the junior and senior year of the engineering program. And of course, UK would deliver a quality program. And so I thought, that's a no-brainer. Let's just do that. Well, it took us 5 years to pull it off. But that dream that this community had is a dream that this group has made come true. What is so wonderful about the community and the region is the kindness that you experience, that I experienced on both a professional and a personal level. And the people I talked to, you knew that they would stand behind the idea no matter what. You knew they had your back. You knew that no matter what happened, they would not let the dream die. And so I never doubted for 1 second this would happen. It took us 5 years to pull it off, but we did. And now you see that we have a marvelous program. I could tell you a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen more stories of marvelous achievements and contributions by the people on this stage and people in this audience and others. But I'm not going to, but I will tell you one story, that's all. One story that epitomizes the kind of people and the kind of individuals and the kind of community that we have. When I arrived in town and I asked Fred Paxton, well, okay, what do you think? What should I do? He said, go see George Crounce. Talk to George Crounce. This guy, he said, is really bright. He's a great thinker. He's an engineer. He knows what needs to go on in this community, and he will give you the best advice ever. So about every 3 weeks, I would go and sit and talk to George Crounce. And if you knew George or didn't know George smoked these little brown cigarettes, little skinny cigarettes, and he never let the fire go out. He would sit there and light the next one with the old one, and for 2 hours, I would sit and watch George light those cigarettes and get the advice from a wonderful, marvelous man. And he said, Len, I think that engineering thing you're talking about is a perfect idea. We need to do it. It's got to be done. Okay. So he said, we got to raise some money. So I set out to raise some money. And George said, you're going to need a considerable amount of money. I said, yeah, I know. Well, I said, but the state has promised me that whatever we raise, they'll just about triple it. So we set out to raise about $3 million, and the state was going to give us another, I don't know what it was now, maybe 10. And one day I went to see George, and George said, how's it going, Len? I said, it's great. It's going great. No problems. We're rolling along. He said, how's the money coming from the state? I said, I think, well, he said, I read in the paper they're only going to give you half of what they told you. I said, well, that's true. He said, well, I'm telling you. I said, with that, I can still pull it off. We can still do it. He said, Len, I'll tell you, I've been around a long time. You're not going to get a dime. You're not going to get a dime. That's the deal. And no, George, we'll be okay. But George says, Len, trust me, you're not going to get the money. He said, well, tell me this. What's it going to take? What's it going to take to get the core of this thing together, to get a building that's really high quality, and equipment that's high quality, and while we fight the battle? So I gave him a number. I made up a number. I didn't know the answer, really. And he said, I'll tell you what I'll do. If you can raise half that amount of money by November, I'll give you the other half. It still gives me goosebumps to think about that moment when someone sits across the table and you know they're as serious as they can be. I will give you half the money. And so this community pulled together. They knew we had the money. He wouldn't let me tell who gave it at the time, but they knew we would have the money if we could raise half. And the people in this stage and the people in this community pulled together and raised half of the money in about 8 months' time. And on November the 2nd, George handed me 2 checks, one from Mrs. Crounce, one from himself, that totaled that half of the amount of money. George epitomized the kind of community, the kind of kindness, the kind of commitment, the kind of compassion, kind of wonderfulness that this community is. And now we can see that the engineering school is doing what we hoped it would do. I congratulate all of you. I thank all of you for the many, many, many kindnesses. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
So Dr. Hara created the spark. Then it certainly took another visionary. It is my pleasure to introduce that visionary, Dr. Thomas Lester, who served as the Dean of Engineering and Professor of Mechanical Engineering at the University of Kentucky during these critical years from 1990 until 2012. Dr. Lester.
Thank you, Antoine. It's a great pleasure to be with you tonight. It brings back so many fond memories and being on the stage with people who work so hard and diligently to bring this dream alive, as President O'Hara said. I want to share with you from my perspective what happened during that time. I told Melissa I wouldn't go longer than 10 minutes. So Melissa, where are you at? There you are. So give me a cut that off if I'm going too long. Okay. So I got to Kentucky in July of 1990. One of the first alumni I met with Dr. Lee Todd, who at the time was president and CEO of DataBeam in Lexington. And a native of Western Kentucky, Lee was, of course, and remains one of the leading advocates for math and science literacy in Kentucky. Visionary, he sought to dispel the myth that Kentuckians could not compete in a global technological society, and he was convinced that the University of Kentucky, because of the wealth of its programs and the position by its charter as a state university, could help Kentuckians realize their dreams. I bring this up because I want to share my memories of how the dream of an engineering program in Paducah came about through the perseverance, those of you in this room, with the assistance from those of us from the University of Kentucky. Many in this room played important roles in the effort, and you have your own memories as well, so to the extent that our memories differ, I ask your indulgence of my 70-year-old brain. Discussion on the need of engineering education in the Purchase region predated my arrival at UK by at least a year, possibly more, as President O'Hara was saying. Stimulated by the difficulty in retaining engineers at Paducah gaseous diffusion plant and other local industrial facilities, they had taken on a new urgency due to the threat posed by the decision by the United States Department of Energy to seek a replacement for the gaseous diffusion process out here with a process called Avalos. At the same time at UK, Charles T. Wethington had recently taken over as interim president. He had previously served as chancellor of the university's community colleges, and he understood instinctively the need for the institution to respond to economic needs of the state, including the purchase region. So it was with this in mind, in the first few weeks of my arrival at UK in that summer of 1990, that Charles called a meeting of the dean of the graduate school, the interim dean of the College of Education, and myself, and asked us to go to Western Kentucky to assess the need for graduate education in Owensboro, Madisonville, and Paducah. So our trip took place the first week of August. In Madisonville and Owensboro, we met with a few people in each place, but it was apparent to us that neither community had really spent a lot of time talking about the need for advanced coursework. But in Paducah, we met with the mayor, the judge executive, the executive director of the local economic development authority, the president of the community college, the owner of the local print and electronic media, a prominent neurosurgeon who was also a member of the UK Board of Trustees, the plant manager of the largest employer of the region, and other corporate and civic leaders as well. Paducah was definitely prepared for our arrival. At the conclusion of the trip, we met with Dr. Robert Merriweather's office, and what became one of the most unexpected, fascinating, and ultimately one of the most satisfying chapters of my 40 years in engineering education unfolded as he asked me to go to California with a contingent of representatives from Paducah to visit the Lawrence Livermore labs where this new Avalos process was being developed. I did go on that trip, and my association with Paducah has continued down to the present moment, 28 years later. As a result of our swing through Western Kentucky, the university did create a graduate center in the CRISP building here in Paducah, offering advanced courses via compressed video from Lexington in both education and engineering. And perhaps just importantly, the visit opened up a dialogue between Paducah's leadership and those of us at UK. Faced as I was with a variety of challenges as a new dean back in Lexington, I knew I couldn't attend to the duties and give sufficient time to the Paducah initiative as well. The answer to my problem appeared in the wake of a department head search in mining engineering, where one of the candidates, G.T. Lineberry, seemed to me to possess all the qualities necessary to pull this program off out here. He had a fanatical devotion to details, a homespun West Virginia personality that facilitated his interactions with community supporters, and a dogged persistence in overcoming formidable bureaucratic barriers. GT turned out to be the perfect choice, and unfortunately he couldn't be here tonight. Ultimately, however, we discovered that the region needed something more than we could provide through graduate program offering, and it became apparent that a residential 4-year undergraduate engineering program was needed. Most of the engineering managers faced the same problem as Steve Polston did, who articulated the solution to the problem on behalf of his colleagues. We need a program here where the students from local high schools could get an engineering degree, a 4-year engineering degree, and stay in the region and practice their trade. I understand that the Paducah leadership had previously raised the possibility of a 4-year engineering program with the leadership at Murray State. Is that right, Lynn? Murray State has and still does have a accredited 4-year engineering program in engineering physics, and an extension of that university's offerings in response to local needs would have been logical. Unfortunately, at the time, Murray's leadership was not terribly interested in doing that. And so the Paducah leadership turned to UK and its president, Charles Wethington, for help. Now, there was no doubt in my mind from the beginning of my tenure as dean that Charles Wethington had a keen interest in the Paducah initiative. Having come up through the community college system himself, he was an ardent proponent of the premise the UK was the university for all of Kentucky, including the purchase region. In response to his enthusiasm for the program, I was enthusiastic as well. But I responded with some caution, for I wanted him to know that we had some hurdles to overcome. First, there was no facility down here to offer engineering education. Secondly, the College of Engineering had no resources to offer since we just had a 10% budget cut. Third, there was absolutely no precedent nationally throughout the whole United States of a College of Engineering offering a 4-year program in engineering on the campus of a community college. Fourth, given the budget issues and the uniqueness of the program, I wasn't sure I could get the faculty to approve it. And fifth, even if we could surmount all of those barriers, I wasn't sure that the Engineering Accreditation Commission, would accredit it. Beyond that, I thought there was no problem. Well, this was not what Charles T. Wethington wanted to hear. Never one for small talk, he responded that it was my job to figure out how to make it work. End of discussion. So the challenges were to be even more daunting than I imagined. Murray State University now decided that if there were to be an undergraduate engineering program in the Purchase region, it, rather than UK, should be the one to offer it. What ensued was no less than open warfare between the two communities, with UK at Paducah's side. Newspapers statewide covered the bitter altercation with front-page articles. So did television and radio stations in both Louisville and Lexington. It was an exhausting time for all of us involved in advocating for the program. Nonetheless, there was a silver lining, and that was that the debate over engineering education in Paducah resulted in the most extensive coverage of engineering as a profession in the state's history. The individuals who never thought about the importance of engineering profession to their own lives suddenly were confronted with the profession's importance in the far reaches of the state. The statewide governing board, the Council on Higher Education, became deeply involved in the dispute and held several meetings in the Purchase region at which the opposing sides clashed over the concept. In their ultimate wisdom, the council split the baby in half and issued its decision that 3 institutions would work cooperatively to offer the engineering programs needed by the region. University of Kentucky would be an overall charge, but Paducah Community College would be responsible for the first 2 years of the program, and Murray State would teach approximately 1/2 of the upper division coursework. The fact that Murray had no faculty at the time in chemical engineering and very limited faculty background in mechanical engineering apparently didn't faze the council at all. Aside from the issues alluded previously, many others raised their head with the creation of the agreement setting up the program. It included scheduling. How do you bill the students? Are they part-time at each institution? Are they full-time at overall? There were a manifold number of problems that we had to face, and I won't go through them tonight. While GT and the faculty were working through these many issues, however, 2 PCC faculty members in chemistry and physics were doing their due diligence and looking at engineering facilities throughout the Midwest, coming up with ideas about how a building could be facilitated here that would accommodate the program. At the same time, Len O'Hara, Steve Polston, and many others in this room were securing pledges of financial support from individuals, not only in the community but statewide, to underwrite the program. Fred Paxton, Steve Polston, Bob Leeper, and Frank Rash, and others were talking with the governor and legislative leadership, as well as representatives of the Council on Higher Education, arguing for money to equip the new laboratories, M&O to run the building, and funding for the program. The efforts came together in the spring of 1996 when the program proposal put forth by the Council on Higher Education for funding was approved by the General Assembly. Leadership gifts from the Krauts family and others enabled the community college to design and build a world-class facility, incorporating many of the features that those 2 PCC faculty had founded other engineering schools around the state, around the region. With funding assured and faculty under construction, it was time to build the staffing, time to do the staffing. We were fortunate Dr. Bill Murphy, a tenured professor of ag engineering at UK, was willing to give up his comfortable position in Lexington and come to Paducah to be the founding director of the program. With Bill's leadership and good judgment, we were able to hire 7 additional faculty members from excellent schools to join the program. Bill also had to convince industrial leaders that they would be able to hire top-flight engineering talent, certainly as competent as they could get from Lexington from the local program. And we really struck gold with Miss Benita Likens. A school counselor in the Purchase, joined as the first staff member. Her unbridled enthusiasm for the program and her local ties helped to convince a first contingent of students and their families that this program was a real deal. And Len O'Hara, well, Len O'Hara was everywhere. It seemed using every ounce of his energy to reassure everybody in the community of the quality of the program, that it really was UK engineering. And perhaps nothing stated that so eloquently, Len, as the large blue UK sign that you had erected in front of the newly constructed Krauts Hall adjacent to I-24. I swear I could see the UK lettering as soon as I exited the West Kentucky Parkway 20 miles east of here. It's hard for us from this vantage point today to recall the leap of faith required to undertake this project. Faculty in Lexington could be excused if they were skeptical about the program, as could potential students and their parents. After all, we were attempting something that had never been done before in American engineering education. And despite assurances from the Engineering Accreditation Commission that they welcomed innovative program proposals, there was no assurance that they would accredit a program that was quite this innovative. Accreditation decisions occur after the first students graduate, not before, and if those programs were not accredited, those students would not be able to find jobs. It was all a gigantic gamble. The faculty voted to approve the programs, and that potential students and their families placed their trust in us to provide them with first-class engineering education. It is a remarkable national degree is a testament to everyone involved. I can say honestly that the program has exceeded our expectations in every regard. It is now accommodated in 3 magnificent buildings: Crown's Hall, the Challenger Center, and the Paxton Engineering Laboratories in the Emerging Technologies building. Faculty members have not only excelled in teaching, but also in community outreach and selected research projects. They continue to win not only college awards, but national awards as well. The program has grown in size and has frequently exceeded our early projections, and a very large percentage of the graduates have stayed in the Purchase region. Despite the community's best efforts, the gaseous diffusion plant discontinued operations in 2013. But cleanup of the site continues, and engineering faculty are playing significant roles in that as well. UK is here assisting Paducah build the economy of the future. Although those of us in this room have moved on from the roles we played in the creation of the engineering program in Paducah, we all look back with pride at what has been accomplished. You know, Lee Todd was right. He was right about the ability of the citizens of far western Kentucky to envision and create a better future for themselves and their children, to compete in a global technology society. And he was right when he said that UK could make it happen. I know that Lee regrets not being here tonight, but I know that if he were to join me up here, that he, along with President Charles Wethington and current President Eli Capilouto, would say thank you to all of you in this audience and to the Paducah community for allowing us to share with you and making this dream of bringing engineering education to Paducah possible. Thank you.
Thank you. It indeed gives me great pleasure to introduce my dear friend, Dr. Barbara Veazey, an incredible colleague, mentor, and torchbearer, as she certainly stepped in as the first president of the Consolidated Community and Technical College. Barbara's been with the college for more than 40 years, 4 decades, which is really, really remarkable. And I'm sure that as we hear your comments tonight, it will be very clear that as the seeds was planted for this vision, indeed it took a torchbearer to take it up to the next level. Join me in welcoming Dr. Barbara Veazey.
Thank you. Thank you. I certainly appreciated the comments of Dr. O'Hara, Tom Lester, that wonderful history. I told this little story earlier, and I'm going to tell it again, and I'm going to tell it years ago. I was the Dean of Academic Affairs, and Anton and I were side by side. That's why we still feel like we are side by side. We encountered many opportunities together. But we were dedicating the Allied Health Building, so you know that was many years ago. And Lynn and I were looking at pictures after the event, and Charles Wethington was speaking, and there I was looking so adoringly at Charles Wethington. Just that look. And Lynn says, "Why don't you ever look at me that way?" And I thought about it as I was coming down here tonight, and I think I did look at you that way. I sat in every audience, every presentation that Lynn and Steve Poston and Frank Rash, Ken Wheeler, I sat there, and Lynn told those stories about meeting with Steve and that this community needed engineers. We needed a program that would keep our young people at home and be able to employ them here, all for our economy. I sat there and I bought into it, and I couldn't imagine anyone not believing that this was the best idea in the world and that this was going to happen. And I remember being with Lynn in Murray. We were at what used to be the HUD or something like that. And we were talking, and I'm thinking, why do you think this isn't going to happen, or that we would have any doubts? And he goes, I don't, but we've got to do all this and this. And, oh, we can do it. We can do it. And so I looked at you adoringly at that time. And I knew we could do it. But after it all started, the visionaries, they had the vision. But those of us who were in the trenches every day, we were making things happen. And that was with, and I remember very distinctly being at Applebee's with interviewing Bill Murphy. So Bill Murphy, G.T. Lineberry, Tom Lester, all of us that had those boots on the ground, every day we were making it happen with putting a curriculum together, putting people in place, the community, Dave Denton. I could look out, I could name so many people that we have such wonderful memories. And so tonight, as we come together, we all are so glad to see each other. But in all of these smiles and in all this happiness, we did a wonderful thing for this community. You did a wonderful thing for this community, but it took a great deal of hard work and pure guts. And that's what I applaud us for. And we continue that vision with the Fred Paxton Engineering Research Center. And so that could never have happened had this community led by these folks on the stage and by you. We had a dream, but we made that dream come true. I applaud you. I thank the University of Kentucky College of Engineering, West Kentucky Community and Technical College for bringing us together tonight. But I salute us, and I absolutely salute you in this community. And thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Thank you. Now we have a bit of a surprise. We have 4 outstanding young people, students who have benefited from this incredible partnership. I'm reminded that the Latin derivative of engineering is for clever. So these 4 clever students has done outstanding individually and collectively. And I'll ask them now to join me on the stage. Matt Snow, Chris Barrow, Joshi Shondi, and Colton Tockstein.
I'll start. Thank you again for allowing me to be here. It truly is an honor. They asked me to give a quick summary of my story. So I graduated from WKCTC in 2006 and the UK College of Engineering in 2008 with a degree in mechanical engineering. After that, I went into commercial sales for Hartshaw Train. I sold commercial air conditioning and controls, and I did that for about 4 or 5 years. I found that being an independent contractor and 100% commission sales eventually wore on me a little bit. No benefits, so eventually I was like, I'm going to try something different. I went to Markham Engineering as a consulting engineer and project manager. Great job, a lot of great people there. I worked on projects like McCracken High School, Paducah Middle School, Superior Care Home, and it was a great fit for me. Over time, I had the opportunity to work for Baptist Health Paducah. So someone reached out to me and said, this might be a good opportunity, it might be a good fit for you. So I went in and I interviewed, and I felt like I was a little bit out of my league, unfortunately, but I was working on some projects at Murray County Hospital for Markham at the time, so a hybrid operating room project and some things like that. So I feel like I understood what the facility management role meant. So I tried to prove that I knew how to do it, and they took a chance on me. So I went from managing 0 people to about 70, so it was a big change for me. Definitely on the HR side, I had to learn a lot there. But since then, I've gotten promoted at Baptist Health Paducah. I manage maintenance and engineering, biomedical engineering, laundry, security, safety, the switchboard, ballet, and any of our capital projects. So it's a great fit for me. I find passion in working for healthcare. I feel like I can really make a difference working there. Indirectly, I feel like I can help patients by making sure it's a safe environment and helping our nursing staff. So I just want to point out the fact that I wouldn't have been there without this program. I mean, without going to the UK Engineering School, without going to WKCTC, I may have gone off somewhere else. I may not have been able to accomplish my engineering degree like many of my counterparts from Reedland High School. The ones that went off to a larger campus, unfortunately, got mixed up in other things, and literally none of them graduated with an engineering degree. So staying local and getting that engineering degree, it was instrumental in the path that I've taken. So ongoing, what I'm looking to in the future, I hope to advance in healthcare leadership, but maybe surprisingly, most people don't know this, but I'm actually a patent pending inventor, which is a little unusual. So it's something for the hospitality industry. I submitted my patent about 8 months ago. Has investors now. I've made a pitch to about 6 of the local general managers at our hotels in the area, and most of them give me positive reviews. So we'll see where that goes. I'm not getting my hopes up, but either way, it's been a fun project for me. So again, I love the school. I love to talk about it. I feel so honored to have been a part of it and so blessed to have been a part of it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. My name is Christopher Barrow, and I'm a fairly recent graduate out of here. My journey started back in 2012 when I first started looking to what schools I wanted to go to and going through the senior high school. And at that time, Denise was really Denise and Dino were really helping recruit. And I'd known Denise, well, she'd known me at least from all my life. But she really helped me aspire to come here and show me all the different opportunities to come here, which is really what my story is about. This school provides a lot of opportunities for its students. For me, one of the main things that got me going here was they had this program that they would do during the summers where UK would go out and do study abroads in Germany, which for me at the time, I'd taken some German classes in high school, so that really was very interesting for me. So I did that for the summer and really enjoyed it, really opened my eyes to the world and to the way that the world works and how in that coursework they had a German engineering course, so seeing how engineers outside the U.S. do their, how they perform their duties. So after that, we go to this career fair that a lot of us will make trips up to, and I get this interview for a internship. Well, I thought it was going to be an internship position for GE Aviation in Madisonville, and going for the interview, and I talk with the interviewer, and he actually worked under Dr. Capis when Capis was actually back in Lexington, so that probably helped a lot there. And so I ended up doing a co-op position for the Madisonville plant for a year, and that was a very eye-opening experience for the industry world. And so I got to learn a lot in that regard. And then further along in my studies, junior year rolls around. Sadly, Capis and Murphy retired, but we got 2 other great professors, one of whom I got the pleasure of working for, Dr. Maddox, and getting involved with his research. So, and at that time, he actually had this opportunity set up to where one of us in the junior class could go out to the NASA Langley Research Center. And so I was thankfully selected for that and got to go out there for a summer and do some great research opportunity. And from that, we actually got our senior design project. So again, another opportunity just from being able to come here to the UK Paducah and just like every opportunity after opportunity, just growing. And so we got a senior design project from there, and I'm still currently working on that thing for the last 2 summers. So that's been very nice. And I've continued to work with Dr. Maddox in grad school and currently pursuing a PhD. So overall, this school to me represents a wealth of opportunity for its students and a faculty that is passionate about their students to a degree that I haven't seen anywhere else. So with that, thank you, faculty, and thank you all those that have helped support this campus over the years and its founding. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Chandani Joshi. I am a second-year PhD student in chemical engineering here at UK Paducah, and thank you for allowing me to share my story with you, my journey through UK Paducah and also WKCTC. So to begin, I started my journey at Commonwealth Middle College in 2011. And while I was in Commonwealth Middle College, through the support of the faculty and staff, including WKCTC faculty and staff, I got involved in several campus organizations and activities. And by the time I graduated in 2013 from Commonwealth Middle College, I also received the Student of the Year Award from WKCTC. At that time, Dr. Veazey was the president. So after that, shortly, I also received several transfer scholarships and incoming freshman scholarships that helped my journey through UK Paducah. And as a result, in August 2013, I started my bachelor's in chemical engineering at UK Paducah. To say the least, this campus has provided me tremendous opportunities. And as a freshman, I would have never thought that I would be where I am today. For instance, soon afterwards in my freshman year, I got involved in a sustainability-focused research group. Through that, I have been able to travel to several different countries implementing sustainable development projects, presenting my research at international and national conferences. And I have won so far 7 international awards and 5 national awards, including presenting the research and technical presentations about 4 times, including 1 invited talk. And lastly, doing about 5 publications that are co-authored and first authored. So the academic-wise, this school has just been amazing in terms of my growth and personal development. Also, after graduating from UK Paducah in 2017 with my bachelor's, I decided to continue in the research field and pursue my PhD. In 2017, I took a year in Lexington starting my PhD coursework. There, too, I received many opportunities to continue building on the foundation that WKCTC and UK Paducah had laid. For instance, there I got involved in the Entrepreneurship Boot Camp, through which I developed a co-founded business with the UK Paducah faculty called the Sustainable Products Company. And we competed in several regional and state competitions there as well, winning about 3 regional and 1 state competition. So, looking back, I am tremendously thankful for what WKCTC and UK Paducah has done for me. I thank God for the opportunities and especially the people, all of you here who have supported me, encouraged me, and invested in me to help me get to where I am today. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Colton Tux. I'm a UK Paducah chemical engineering graduate of class of 2017. I first started my path with UK Paducah when WKCTC and Commonwealth Middle College partnered together. I was able to receive my associate's degree while I was enrolled in undergraduate classes with UK Paducah. Through this, it allowed me to make the decision while I stayed in Paducah, received my bachelor's 4-year degree, and also I wasn't financially burdened with the student debt. Looking back at my 4 years I spent on the campus, I realized I learned much more than how to separate 2 liquids of their properties or how to design a heat exchanger. I learned how to communicate and how to think outside the box. My mentor and boss, Billy Harper, he was the one who first realized this and brought this to my attention. At my interview, when I was interviewing with him for an operations manager position in one of his companies, I just was honest with him. I said, now, I'm a chemical engineer, not a mechanical engineer. I don't have the mechanical inclined individual. That I don't care. All engineers know how to think. Looking at this, it really brought to my attention. As I thought about all the years at UK Paducah with my study abroad with Dr. C to India, through my various leadership position and roles I had in clubs, to even the teamwork that we had with all of our group assignments, I learned how to think outside the box. Every day now with my career, I'm forced to think outside the box. If it's a logistics problem where we have multiple jobs all across the country and I've got to get individuals, I've got to work with DLT, materials, all to get there, I'm forced to think outside the box. If it's how can I acquire more customers and how can I retain the customers in a more efficient way, I'm forced to think outside the box. And I'm starting the bridge coating division for IFC, which is the current operations manager position I'm at. We're at the 550% scale up next week at the Lake Barkley Bridge. I was forced to think outside the box. Thinking outside the box is a valuable skill that UK Paducah has laid the foundation for me, and a skill that I will build on in my future development and my professional career. I am forever grateful that this campus laid that foundation for myself, every alumni that has come through this college. Thank you.
These are incredible examples about the power of this incredible and unique partnership and program, particularly in keeping our 20 to 40-year-olds within our region. For our next speaker is my colleague, Dr. Devil Silverstein, who is a professor of chemical engineering and the second director of the University of Kentucky's Paducah's campus. He was part of the first cohort of faculty hired at the start of the UK programs, starting in the fall of 1999. Now, Dr. Silverstein is a nationally recognized leader in chemical engineering education. Join me in welcoming Dr. David Silverstein.
Thank you, Dr. Reese. It'd be hard to start talking about the University of Kentucky engineering programs in Paducah without first talking about the people responsible for implementing them. So I'd like to recognize our faculty and staff members here by asking them to stand as I read your names, and I do have to read them because my memory is not what it used to be. I'll start with the most senior faculty member here, Dr. John Baker. We have the Catterjohn Professor Charles Liu, PJC Professor Jeff C., Derek Englert, Hunte Wong, Jack Maddox, Sergei Markutsia, and our newest faculty members, Ari Gamiri and Gisela Lamas. I'd also like to recognize the department chairs for our faculty and our degree programs here from Lexington, Mike Renfro from Mechanical Engineering, and Doug Kalika from Chemical and Materials Engineering. Our staff members are our Director of Student Services, Jennifer McIntosh, our Facilities Manager, Todd Cowan, Business Manager, Stephanie Mahan, our Director of Recruiting and Placement, Alex Sherwood. And I think it's important to note that Alex, along with Melissa Tomlin from the College of Engineering in Lexington, are largely responsible for planning this evening for us tonight, with some assistance from Janet Blythe and her staff at West Kentucky. So I want to acknowledge them for that. And I also don't want to omit Tori Earle, who is with the UK College of Agriculture as an extension specialist for STEM programs statewide, but has played a tremendous role in our ability to reach K-12 students in this area. So thanks, Tori. We consider you family, even though you're from that other college. So the word I hear most often in describing the UK programs in Paducah is value. Now, I need to warn some of you that there will be just a little bit of math that I'm going to bring up here, but that it'll just be this one thing and then we'll leave math alone. If you define value as benefits divided by costs, you recognize that you can increase value by either increasing benefits or by decreasing costs. The cost side is pretty simple. Students that pursue a degree here by virtue of the tuition structure will save at least 25% on their four-year tuition, and they can save even more if they're eligible for the community scholarship program or the various other support that West Kentucky and UK provide to these students for their first couple of years. If they can live at home with their families, there's also a tremendous savings that's available there. Over the past 20 years, those cost numbers have gone up, but when you compare those numbers to the costs associated with obtaining an engineering education from both the University of Kentucky in Lexington, if you're having to relocate, as well as other institutions, cost still remains a huge part of what makes a Paducah education a tremendous value. But low cost without a benefit, without significant benefits, don't really give you value. The primary benefit that the Paducah programs provide is opportunity. And it's an opportunity that does its best not to discriminate against those who come from challenging backgrounds, those that can impair opportunity, whether it's finances or being place tied or place bound for various reasons, or various other challenges that have affected our students. That opportunity only begins with the chance to take classes that lead to a UK engineering degree. It continues with the kind of support services that are necessary to promote a very unique population. Many of you are probably unaware that about 40% of our students are first-generation college students. This is about twice the rate of first-generation students at the main campus in Lexington. In many cases, that first-generation status goes hand in hand with low incomes. Sometimes it means that the students' families and others in their sphere of influence may not recognize the struggles that their students are going to encounter when they start taking their engineering classes. So it means we have to provide additional personal support to enable them to realize the full value of their educational opportunities. The value that students receive from this education is multiplied by their experiences outside of the classroom. It means opportunities to participate in club projects like the Baja Car or the Design Build Fly competition. It means participating in groundbreaking research projects, often while just first-year students. It means traveling to professional conferences and seeing the wider world of their chosen profession. And it often means traveling overseas for study, service, and research. We also provide value for the community, a community that's provided amazing support with the facilities that we occupy and the scholarship support that our students receive. You've heard already that we have 371 graduates of this program, and that about 70% of those are filling engineering positions locally. In doing so, they're typically commanding starting salaries that exceed $70,000 a year. You add up all of the salaries that our students that are staying locally would be earning on an annual basis, accounting for cost of living adjustments, you find a number that is around $25 million a year in direct economic impact to this region annually. The story of the first 20 years of this program is about providing value to our students and to the community. And some things have changed notably over the past 20 years. We've gone from occupying parts of one building to occupying parts of three. Only 2 members of our original cohort of faculty and staff remain with the program. The parking lot in Crounce Hall has tripled in size since when we started. But in 1999, the primary complaint that we heard from our students was that there was insufficient parking in front of Crounce Hall. 20 years later, talking to our graduating seniors, primary problem with the program is there's just not enough parking in front of Crounce Hall. So not everything has changed, but we've gone from enrollments that have been approaching 50 to enrollments that are approaching 200. And now there's certainty that a unique collaboration amongst institutions, originally UK with Murray State University and Paducah Community College, and now between UK and West Kentucky Community and Technical College, can not only work, but it can flourish. And it can do that while delivering tremendous value to the community and to our students. So over the next 20 years, our goal is to continue expanding that value. We want to ensure that every student has an opportunity to have a substantial, out-of-class professional experience, like study abroad or participating in a research or a design project, regardless of their financial capability. I also believe that every student should be able to attend at least one professional conference during their time here, regardless of their ability to pay. We want to continue to expand our support offerings to give every student the chance to succeed regardless of their background or their circumstances. And while we do this, we can never stop delivering value to our students and to our community. I'm confident we can do that because of a dedicated faculty and staff, top-notch partner in West Kentucky Community and Technical College, and a supportive administration in Lexington. And we will not forget that it is because of this community and the individuals in it who over 20 years ago had a vision of providing value to this region. So let's move forward from today with the next 20 valuable years of engineering education in Paducah. Thank you.
Our final speaker. We are honored to have the new Dean of the College of Engineering, who I had an opportunity to meet with this morning, at the University of Kentucky, here with us, Dr. Rudy Buckheit. He is a professor of chemical and materials engineering. Before his appointment at Kentucky, he was a professor and chair in the Department of Materials Science and Engineering, and later associate dean in the College of Engineering at The Ohio State University. Please join me in welcoming Dean Rudy Buckheit.
Thank you, Dr. Reese. And I want to emphasize the main thing you need to know about me tonight is I'm your last speaker. So I have the honor of serving as Dean in the College of Engineering at the University of Kentucky. I bring warm greetings and congratulations from the University President Eli Capilouto and Provost David Blackwell. It's my honor and privilege to participate in celebrating at this milestone for UK engineering in West Kentucky, the partnership among UK, WKCTC, Paducah, and the Purchase that has enabled these programs to thrive. And it has been a most impressive partnership, as I've seen the past 2 days. I'm especially honored to recognize the contributions of these individuals responsible for the inception of the UK Paducah Engineering Campus and nurturing it through its formative years. Your example continues to inspire us. Today, 20 years after their creation, it is evident that the founding aspirations have been achieved in chemical engineering and mechanical engineering here at Paducah. They are fully invested in the mission of the modern academy, pursuing activities in teaching and learning, research and innovation, outreach and engagement, and doing it with excellence that is obvious in local, national, and international venues. Today, the faculty are accomplished researchers and scholars. You've had an opportunity to meet them. They pursue cutting-edge research across a range of topics, including conversion of biomass and waste plastics into biofuels, microfluidic technology for studying biological processes, catalyst synthesis and chemical process reactor design, characterization of thermal properties of protective and ablative materials for spacecraft, and micro and nanomechanics of advanced composite materials. It's quite impressive. The results of this research impacts energy sustainability, environmental stewardship, human health, healthcare delivery, high-performance structures and systems, advanced manufacturing, and human space flight. It's all done here. Today, the faculty are inspirational educators. They teach in classrooms on campus here in Paducah, in classrooms in Lexington and beyond, enabled by online teaching modes, and they are recognized for their excellence in mastering this mode of educational delivery. The faculty engage their students in lectures, laboratories, in research, through international travel experiences, and in doing so, ensure that the student experience here is as rich and as fulfilling as anywhere that university teaching is done. Today, the programs are sustained by the passion and the commitment of a staff whose efforts are not confined by 9 to 5. They're not confined by Monday to Friday, and they're probably not confined by the title of the position that they hold. I want to thank you for what you do. We're lucky to have you supporting this program. Today, the students are the treasure of the program. You've met some of them. They're ambitious, they're smart, they're savvy. They are learning sponges, and as they absorb, they grow in experience and ability. Congratulations to the AICHE student chapter. That's the professional organization for chemical engineering. They were recognized as an outstanding student chapter this year for the 17th year in a row. That is some record. Today, I think the evidence is clear and convincing. The purpose of founding these programs has been realized. But in so doing, the bar has been raised. and readiness has been demonstrated to take on the new challenges that have formed before us. So I look forward to taking those challenges on with you, and am proud to be your colleague in those endeavors. I'd like to close, but before doing that, I would like to express the gratitude on behalf of the University of Kentucky for the faithful and productive partnership that we have enjoyed with West Kentucky Community and Technical College and the greater Paducah community. You are staunch partners, and we value the partnership greatly. I look forward to deepening that partnership for our mutual benefit, and let's go forward and do great things. Thank you all very much.
Now it's time to recognize our honorees. I'm going to have the Dean and Dr. Silverstein to join me on stage. Our first honoree tonight is Dave Denton, who just left to use the restroom. I just want to make sure you guys are still plugged in. It's okay. Our first honoree tonight is the George Crounce family. George P. and Eleanor B. Crounce were donors whose matching gift electrified the fund drive that raised more than $8.3 million for the Science and Engineering building. The College of Engineering program is housed, and Mr. Crounce was a member of the Paducah Junior College Board from 1966 to 1978. During the official dedication of the Science and Engineering building on April 28, 1998, the building was named in honor of George P. and Eleanor B. Crounce. Tonight, they're being represented by their grandson, Guthrie Allen, who's also a current PJC Foundation board member. Mr. Allen, please join us as we honor your family's contribution. It's true. Our second honoree is attorney David Denton, who's back, a graduate of the UK College of Law, who successfully chaired the fundraising campaign that raised more than $8.4 million entirely through private donations in Paducah for the construction of the University of Kentucky's College of Engineering on the Paducah campus. Join me as we honor our dear friend. Congratulations. Our next recipient is unable to be with us tonight, but he's certainly no stranger. Billy Harper, the founder of Harper Industries, who graduated from the University of Kentucky with a Bachelor of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering in 1966. He was among the earliest advocates and a generous supporter of the Paducah Engineering program. He was unable to attend this evening, but Colton Tockstein, who we just met earlier, is here to represent him. Please join us in honoring Billy Harper's contribution. You're flowing. Our next recipient was a pilot, military aviator, and businessman, H.E. Gene Catterjohn, who established the first endowed professorship for the engineering program and assisted in getting the program established in Paducah. Gene passed in 2015. However, his legacy and dedication to the community lives on. His daughter, our own Carolyn Perry, will be accepting on behalf of the family. Congratulations. We are flowing. Our next recipient is our own McCracken County Judge Executive Bob Leeper, who is a former member of the Kentucky State Senate and former Paducah City Commissioner. He's a Board of Trustee member of the Paducah Junior College Foundation and advocated successfully in the Kentucky General Assembly for funding to equip the new engineering facility and funds to support faculty, staff, salaries, and program operation. Please join me in congratulating Bob Lieber. How to look for you. Yes, sir. Congratulations. Our next recipient is Dr. Thomas Lester, who we've heard from earlier. He's a retired dean of the College of Engineering and was certainly responsible for managing the overall development and administration of the Paducah Engineering Program and its approval by the University of Kentucky's faculty committees and the State Council on Higher Education. Congratulations, Dean Lester. Congratulations, yes indeed. Our next recipient is unable to be with us tonight, Dr. G.T. Lineberry, who holds an associate's degree from Bluefield College in 1975 and a BS and MS from Virginia Tech in 1977 and 79 respectively, and a PhD from West Virginia University, all in mining engineering. He has been on the mining engineering faculty at the University of Kentucky for more than 30 years and currently serves as the Associate Provost for Faculty Advancement, promoting academic and administrative excellence by working collaboratively with members of the university community. GT engineered a collaborative agreement among Paducah Community College, Murray State University, and the University of Kentucky that resulted in this nationally recognized unique approach to delivering undergraduate and engineering education. Please join me in recognizing Dr. Lineberry. Our next recipient is Miss Bonita Likens, who's a former school counselor in the Purchase region and the program's first staff member, whose enthusiasm for the program cultivated interest among the region's teachers, parents, and prospective students, and certainly guided the professional development of many of the program's graduates. Very instrumental in the day-to-day success. Congratulations, Bonita Likens. Congratulations. We are flowing. We're almost there. Our next recipient is Dr. Robert Merriweather, a retired neurosurgeon with more than 40 years of practice. He has served in numerous capacities, including a member of the University of Kentucky's Board of Trustees, and worked diligently behind the scenes to secure political support in Frankfurt for the Paducah Engineering Program funding. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Robert Merriweather. Our next recipient is Dr. Bill Murphy, who left UK's Lexington campus as a biosystems and agricultural engineering professor and enthusiastically joined the Paducah campus as its first director in 1998. Certainly, Dr. Murphy was instrumental in melding a diverse group of science and engineering faculty from the 3 participating institutions into a seamless program, faculty delivering world-class engineering education. Dr. William Murphy. Our next recipient, unfortunately, is not able to be here, but certainly appreciates the recognition. This is in honor of the Fred Paxton family. Many of us know Fred certainly as the Paducah Sun publisher. He was a member of many community committees, including the Paducah Junior College Board of Trustees, a vital part of the successful community effort to get the University of Kentucky to locate an engineering school in Paducah, with classes offered as a cooperative effort of University of Kentucky, Murray State, and West Kentucky Community and Technical College. On December 7, 2007, the research wing of the Emerging Technology Center at West Kentucky Community Technical College was named in memory of Mr. Paxton. Please join me in honoring the visionary and transformational agent, Fred Paxton. Our next recipient, Mr. Steve Polston, has held various positions as President and Plant Manager of USAC, Chief Operation Officer of Jacobs Kojima, President and Program Manager of Swift and Staley, and he is currently the Director of the New Day Life Center. Steve was a member of the leadership team that galvanized local philanthropic support and state funding for the engineering program. Please join me in recognizing Steve Polston. I was told I missed a very distinguished individual. Our next recipient is Dr. Len O'Hara, who was president of Paducah Community College from 1991, 2000. O'Hara, congratulations. Our next recipient is the former president of Rash Cycle, Frank Rash, who was a member of the Paducah School Board for more than 12 years. He served several years also as a Kentucky House of Representative who advocated successfully in the General Assembly for funding to equip the new engineering facility and funds to support faculty, staff, salaries, and program operations. Congratulations, Frank. We are sorry that Dr. Lee Todd Jr., as mentioned, was not able to join us this evening, but certainly Dr. Todd is a well-known inventor and entrepreneur who became the 11th president of the University of Kentucky in Lexington in 2001 and served as an integral partner to establish the Paducah program. Join me in thanking Dr. Todd for his contribution. Our next recipient is our distinguished President Emeritus, Dr. Barbara Veazey. Our next recipient is Ken Wheeler, who is the former president of R&W Marine and a dedicated and engaged support of the Paducah community and the University of Kentucky's College of Engineering Paducah campus. He's been a member of the Board of Trustees for Paducah Junior College, the foundation of WKCTC since 1990. Mr. Wheeler worked behind the scenes to develop local philanthropic and political support and partnerships for the Paducah Engineering Program and was influential in the program's success. Please join me as we honor Mr. Wheeler for his contributions. All right. So please join me again in thanking all of our recipients tonight. Definitely want to thank Dean Buckheit. Look forward to working closely with you. Dr. Silverstein, my colleague, and all of the individuals who are recognized tonight. As mentioned, 20 years is an incredible period of time that has passed, and certainly as we look now at the intersection and collaboration of higher ed offerings through our region, that collaboration with the University of Kentucky, and as mentioned earlier, Murray State. I would be remiss if I didn't recognize Provost Dr. Mark Arant, who is with us tonight. Great indication of support for these efforts. I also want to thank all of the unsung heroes who have supported this unique partnership throughout the years, especially the dedicated faculty and staff who's made this program an incredible success. With that, we want to have a group photo before we leave with all the stage party, and that will conclude our 20th anniversary celebration. So we look forward to 20 more years. Thank you all so much for your engagement tonight and time. Thank you. I guess if we